This wasn't a budget speech, it was a political detonation in real time. A sitting senator walked in and turned economic numbers into a full-blown indictment of the entire system. And once she started, there was no exit route left on the table. Pauline Hanson didn't debate policy. She went straight for the foundation: debt, deficits, energy, migration. Every pressure point stacked into one single accusation of national direction gone wrong. What you're about to hear isn't disagreement, it's escalation. Because this moment didn't just question a budget, it challenged whether the system itself is still in control.
Productivity is stuck at six-decade lows. 8 out of 10 new jobs are now created by government because the private sector has become so disillusioned. Business confidence and domestic investment have fallen to 1990s recession lows. Our inflation remains the highest in the developed world. Australian families have endured 15 interest rate hikes, pushing more than 1 million households into extreme mortgage stress.
What's your take on this heated exchange? Who made the strongest point? Drop your thoughts in the comments and join the conversation below.
GDP per capita has fallen in 10 of the last 13 quarters, and 337,000 households can no longer pay their energy bills, double the level of 5 years ago, as power prices continue to surge. Labor will introduce the Working Australians tax offset. It's less than $5 a week in relief and not kicking in until next year and election. The government wants you to be grateful for 68 cents a day off your tax. That tax offset will be completely rubbed out by bracket creep. Bracket creep means working Australians will pay more in tax because of inflation. The government profits from higher inflation. It's a stealth tax, a trap for the next election, an advertising slogan for 2028. They used the same trap in their election advertising in 2022. If anyone dare to refuse passing a useless, less than $5 tax cut, they will be accused of not supporting tax cuts. While Australians will receive just $2.6 billion back in the one-off WATO, they'll pay tens of billions more in taxes because of bracket creep. One Nation tried to end bracket creep by indexing income tax thresholds to inflation, ending the stealthy tax increases. Labor, the Liberals, the Nationals, the Greens refused to support it. Instead of a measly $250, ending bracket creep would put thousands of dollars a year back in working Australians' pockets. We don't need Labor to protect Australians. We need to protect Australians from Labor. The tax changes in this budget, including on discretionary trusts, will suppress investor appetite and speculative capital, forcing these businesses to set up in jurisdictions with no impediments. Capital will always follow to where it is most loved. This budget reveals a political culture that relies ever more heavily on centralised bureaucracy, dependency on the state and short-term intervention. That is the Labor way. Forget the spin about intergenerational equity being used as an excuse to break election promises. True equity does not punish those who worked hard, took risks, built businesses and paid their taxes. It does not resent aspiration or success. Real intergenerational equity means giving young Australians the same opportunities their parents had.
This wasn't just a budget speech, it was a full-scale political attack on Labor's economic credibility. From the very first line, Pauline Hanson didn't hold back. She framed this budget as a system in collapse, where rising debt, soaring deficits, and record insolvencies are not isolated problems, but symptoms of a deeper failure of leadership. And what makes this moment explosive is not just the numbers, but the narrative being built around them. She paints a country where working Australians are drowning under mortgage stress, energy bills, and hidden tax pressure, while government spending continues to expand at the same time. In her framing, this is not economic management. It is economic pressure shifting downward onto families and small businesses. But the real political weapon in this speech is the accusation of structural dependency, the claim that government has replaced the private sector as the main driver of jobs, while business confidence and investment collapse in the background. Then comes the turning point: Taxation and inflation are reframed as a silent system, where bracket creep and small offsets are portrayed not as relief, but as political optics. Temporary relief that is quickly absorbed back into the system. From there, the speech escalates into a broader ideological battle. This is no longer just about budget numbers. It becomes a fight over the future model of the country. Centralized government versus free enterprise, redistribution versus growth, regulation versus industry expansion. Housing, migration, energy policy, and taxation are all pulled into one argument: that Australia is not facing isolated policy mistakes, but a coordinated direction that is fundamentally reshaping the economy. And then, the most aggressive claim lands that long-term debt levels approaching trillions are not just financial figures, but a burden being transferred to future generations without consent. The final message is clear. This is not framed as disagreement over policy, but as a warning about national direction. Supporters will see it as a blueprint for economic correction. Critics will see it as ideological escalation. But either way, the speech is designed to do one thing: turn a budget debate into a referendum on the entire system of governance itself.